You are where you are, and that's exactly where you need to be until the greater is shown to you. That's a great spot for everyone to be, is where you are. So embrace that. As long as we're parting with new information every day, then tomorrow we can be a greater version of ourselves.
Right.
Okay, so let's look at this. Now we have prevailed, Azazel, just Azazel, right? But it's saying strength. Now think of like security, majesty, and praise. But now we're talking about the strong one, because it's in this language. It's talking about really the strength and to be stout, and it's from its own root, because this word is rooted from 58:10. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
And we can see that there's a vav added to this on the suffix of this word in this version. So we know that there is a spiritual connection, that whoever this mighty one is, because of how it is already predetermined by what's above it in its language, that this one is spiritually mighty.
Well, it's hallelujah.
Right. But we're talking about the mighty elves.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so let's
well, and they have seen the purpose, and they know the fountain. They understand the sword and the plow that have become one, and they are connected and filled up.
And if you go into the root of Strong's 410 L, it actually roots down to mighty.
It does. I yield.
Yep. And I should have done that for people, but that's fine.
As a pilaster.
Right.
So
let's go down. Now, I extrapolated up, but I'm going to connect it. I just saw this. As soon as I saw Azazel, I'm going, okay, I need to bring this in for people, because Azazel, now we can go in. Now, this is going to connect back. Now we have Azazel, right? Entire removal. Goat of departure, the scapegoat.
Right.
All the sins upon the scapegoat.
Right.
As he went into the wilderness, he went a-wandering, and he never came back. And so now we have a language here of transaction that is put upon the head of those. But in this frequency, we can see something going on here, that there's an entire removal of these that have become the mighty elves. So let's connect this to see. Now listen. Watch this. So there's only 4 occurrences of this Azazel, and all have double lameds.
Oh my gosh.
On the prefix and the suffix.
Whoa.
So you can just show the people so they can see all double lameds.
Oh my gosh. You would never, ever, ever see that unless you dug this out.
There's the scapegoat. And the goat shall wash. Okay, and now this is all presentation language of what is being done right now, because this language all speaks. So we can now say, what is the scapegoat? It's, that again, the goat takes on a pretty scary personification of devil, but again, it's not. It's not. It's those that can ascend the mountain or have got the hind feet of the goats, because they're the ones that can shear vertical.
Right.
Yeah. And so let's connect this back to where we were, because how do we connect this?
Well, I just, in the part of this word, just seeing that there's a Zayin flanking the Aleph.
Right.
On both sides.
Both sides.
You've got a Zayin on both, the sword
and the plow as one. And the sword and the plow as one.
And in between, Ein Lamed, which has to do with ascension. Right in the middle of ascension is the sword and the plow that are the one and the same thing.
This is huge, because this ties in. This actually ties in Aramaic and Hebrew, because
yes, it does.
Because the Ayin Lamed and then the Aleph Lamed, there's L and L,
right,
and then you have twin swords and twin plows.
Right.
Like this is like there's not a mistake while it says entirely removed. Whoever this is, this scapegoat. You've gone into the wilderness as Enoch, and you're not even here anymore.
You are not.
You're the goat of departure.
Exactly. Right.
You've ascended, and we're going to go into this a little further, but you've become Goat Island on the top of Niagara Falls. You've gone up the face of the falls, and you are sitting at the top of this looking down from a perspective as.
Yeah. Right,
okay?
Not
at anymore.
But now as.
So let's connect this. So let's go down to the scapegoat, and we can see that it's from its own definition. It's saying it's from 235 to go.
Right.
All of
Zayin Lamed. So again, the god El that has the sword and plow on the inside.
Right.
Like they've plowed and they've cut off everything that they needed to from the inside to make them elf.
This is your heart, this is your head, and this is your mouth. This is what's coming out of your mouth, a plow or a sword, because this one would know elfship, and he would know how to appropriate the measure that is necessary in the moment. Yes, to disappear.
This is one that can go in and out of dimensions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why. Yeah. And so we can see that where this roots down from, because now it's a female goat, because there's no separation. It's a male and a female. And now it's interesting that now we're going to the Ayin again, so you can see the accumulation of what's above.
Right.
But this is from 58:10. Go back up to the verse.
Wow.
Right there. Go down a little bit. Bring up the whole page.
Oh.
There. Okay. So his mighty is from, this word says his mighty is from 58:10.
Right.
To be prevailed, which goes back down to connect Azazel. So you have Azaz, and then the elship, which you already established in the up part of this verse to say as God.
Right.
Halal is as El.
Right.
This is the one who disappears.
The Uzo.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah.
Okay, now I want to...
So one that knows and sees the purpose of the fountain and knows the purpose of the sword and plow to deal with their fallen flesh, because Ayin is Ayin Yod Nun.
Right.
So cutting off that which no longer serves them, their lesser beast ego nature.
Yeah, you and I would know this. Like, again, we can extrapolate it sideways, because when we see this, we see like a Rolodex or a dictionary, right? Because it's not just one letter, one word. It resonates to, like, whoever this is, they're the full encyclopedia of accomplishment, right? They are the full encyclopedia of Kal-El. They're the full encyclopedia of tome, right? A tome means a huge book.
Exactly. And it also in Hebrew means
completion and twin, right? So the twin, you become one completed one through the twin tome of mother and father. And here's the book. It's the book of Ascension that is inside of you.
Right. And the book, the people who are of the name, who have been written in the book of Chai.
Right.
Of the book of life.
Right. Okay, let's do this first, and then we're going to come back to this 150, but we're going to do this really quick, and then we're going to cruise through. So this is now Psalm 68:20. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Right? God, our God. Just all I'm taking down is I'm digging shovelful upon shovelful of doing my own digging my well to show you my well to say, is it this or is it that? Right? Because here it is. In this word, this 410 God is actually, with the conjunctive on this, you can see Hallel right in here. This is actually a higher version of Hallel, but it's right in this word, compressed in.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Ha'el.
Ha'el.
Yeah. Well, and then Lenu.
Our.
Right.
God. El.
Right. Because, they separated it out because the two lameds, but really when you combine the frequencies together, because there's nothing over here. There's no
strongs beside it.
So there's nothing for them to connect to. It's just a lamed nun vav on the outside, and they don't know where to put it.
In all honesty, I believe they'd be fearful to connect it all together, because really when you could put this, you could go ha, el, lenu, el.
Right.
Like God, our God.
Right.
This is all really can be joined as one word.
Pretty much.
And this is the dimensional Pesach again to say, who is this God? Who is this God? Who is our God? Which, by the way, is, if you're looking at it correctly, it's you.
Exactly.
Now, we're not saying from our perspective where we are. Again, what we do is create a reality.
But we're also showing people how to become a new
reality. No one that I know is shiny yet. In the inside, I'm sure there's lots of shine going on, but the outward manifestation hasn't come yet.
Right.
And so
but there was actually very specific things that happened to the people that we know in the Bible where Moses became a shining one, and so did Yeshua, in 2 different points. So there was something that transmuted them. Some act, something that happened that triggered their light expression.
Well, there's a great segue. Look at the next word.
Yeah.
Right, because that is really the connected to Moshe. That's
Moshe and Yeshua.
Moshe
Yasha.
and Yeshua, and then we have the light, on the lamed on the prefix, right? So there's the light bearer, there's the light bringer.
Right.
The light bringer is bringing salvation, and it's you. Through the wisdom of revelation of Mother, you will find much. You will find the Father, or the fire in your heart, right? So there's the Mother bringing the connection of humility that connects to the fire that's burning in your heart, that allows you to become, to see, to know, right, what is connected and what is of meek revelation and meek love. And so there's a connected one. There's salvation.
I love that. So the fire, knowing the purpose of the fire within.
Right.
Because then you're connecting to Mother and Father.
Yes.
Because that's really it is.
That's Mother and Father right there.
Yeah.
And again, and Mother and Father is not one word. It's an essence of frequency,
of spirit that teaches.
And it's through and through and through, and it has a very expressive face when we extract out. So it has many faces, but it's saying one thing: become.
Over and over and over.
Right. And so this is just one example of an expressional face that's smiling back at you and it's telling you, oh, can you see this? If you can see it, then you look as it.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can see it, you can become it.
So here's deliverance.
And I love the fact, saving acts.
Saving acts.
Which means doing something.
Yes, it's a verb.
It's a doing, yes.
Yeah, it's a verb. Yeah, it's not static. It's not
like somebody did it for you.
Yeah.
You must do it.
These words are waiting in limbo. They're information, again, inculcation.
And information is light.
Right, and so it's right. Everything's a transference of wealth, and so we were releasing light. What you do with it is simply information waiting in limbo for the formation. Information is something that we have to willingly partner with to produce the measure of intention, because every one of these words is vibrating at an intention. It's intention.
Exactly. It's a verb waiting to move.
Right. And so it's statically waiting to say,
partner with me.
Yeah, right. Can you see it? Become it, right?
Exactly. So and change doesn't happen without application.
So now we have this word to deliver yourself, right? To be open, to be wild, to free, succor, right? So now we're talking about being liberated.
But it also means that succor means to help in the time of need.
Absolutely.
So in other words, by us becoming teaching shepherds of light, while others are in need, we will be able to come and help.
Yeah. Everyone wants to see the Marvel Avengers? Right there. There it is right there, avenging. These are the true superheroes that will be coming back to avenge. They will be shepherds. They will be gatekeepers. They will be doormen.
They're the guardians.
They are the guardians of the galactic force, however you want to say that, without making it, I don't tether it to Hollywood at all.
No.
But they do know this.
Yes, they do.
They project that reality upon us, and then we look at it as a lesser. We simply partner with their greater revelation. We pay money to see it, but we are far distant from its true revelation.
Yeah, well, but part of what they're doing is to get us to partner with the imagery that they're sending us so that we would create it and make it happen.
Right.
That's what predictive programming is about. Right. And people don't realize when there's other people out there talking about predictive programming, they'll say, oh, this is what they're wanting you to see because this is what they're planning on doing. Well, it's more than that. They're wanting you to see it so you will agree to it so that you will make it happen because you're a creator.
Yeah.
And we don't realize that what we partner with, we are actually creating a reality. And that's why Hollywood uses the energy of the creators that go and pay movie to make these things come forth.
Yeah. I will tell you, and this is, again, redundant, and forgive me if I've already shared this, but I know that, just to bring it forward again, to release the frequency of light, that the Spirit shared with me personally to share a different revelation to assist people that are looking for something greater. And so I'm only doing what I was called to do. And it's a little unnerving sometimes, because I realize that for people to see a greater revelation and a greater reality in this, then by all means partner with that. But I'm simply doing what I was called to do, to release a potential of a reality that people could partner with something to get out of this prison system.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we're simply we're framing a door, and we just need to cross over. So let's look at this salvation. This is Moshe, to be drawn out. The word's right in there. There's Moshe. Draw yourself out, because you have to self-deliver out of the basket. Which
right here. Memshin.
Right, which is the Hebrew definition. The tet's not in here, but actually in this word salvation, if it's connected to Moshe, the tet should automatically be in there, because Moshe was in the basket of choice,
right,
which means in the muscle, the wrestle in the mud of the world. And he was wrestling the crown in the tet and the tail of the snake, which by definition is the Ouroboros, the light and the dark, what is and what is not, because it all is, but you have to go through the expression of finding it to put the two together, where the head goes into the feet, realizing I've completed the circle and I've made a completed unit out of two pieces of mother and father.
Right.
Okay, so let's see who this is. Now we have Yahweh.
Yeah, but this is one of those things that, again, if you're not digging, people that understand the Tetragrammaton would think that every time it says God, it's just Yod He Vav He.
Right.
But when you see this is one that has come in humility as a teaching shepherd of light that is attached to mother and father.
Absolutely.
And as technically it means that they've become it.
Well, and so sovereignty's teaching point to humility's wrestle. Mother's meekness is humility's resolve. Father in the red over there.
Right.
And so this is what this is. This is mother has taught you how to humbly express yourself. Ooh, did I spell it wrong? Mother taught yourself how to humbly express yourself, and then if we continue in our wrestle, then we produce the measure of intention, which is meek resolve. And there's
right, and this is big.
This is huge.
To understand who the Luya are,
my heart,
they resonate to the frequency of the teachings, and therefore this gives them the authority to teach.
We wrestle through dim shades and shadows until we become that which is light, to shed light back on those that are in the dim.
Right.
Because you become the dark in the light and the light in the dark.
Which is the whole purpose of why Hillel came.
Exactly. It's the gift of the light bringer that came, and it got misconstrued and bastardized into a version that's created red suits that go Halloweening in the night.
Right.
And it's like, that's not at all what it is.
No.
That's not at all what it is. An innocent light being came as a brother to assist us in our journey of expressing, of finding ourselves. It was an amazing gift, an amazing opportunity. And part of, I know your heart as well is tethered to this, to know that how heart-wrenching it is that we've misconstrued the innocence of the frequency.
Absolutely. And that the fact that the bringer of light came in the gross darkness, because we were so low in our
far away.
We were so low in our consciousness levels that we needed to have a really bright light to shine for us, to give us the information we needed to come up and out of the pit.
And we're going to share that in a second.
I know you are.
Yeah, and that's the next verse, I believe. So this is now Lord, Adonai.
So this is sovereigns.
This is sovereign now. You are now God as sovereign, and this is where we see sovereignty.
And the judges.
Right.
Right? Because it's Dan in the middle of it.
And this is, so we want to know it
So, Luya, the sovereigns that are the judges.
Right.
These are the gardeners and the judges, the defenders.
Yes.
Of the people.
A lot of us comprehend the word of narcissism and empathic, and how the narcissistic nature wants to feed on the empath. And yet, why is an empath that way? It's because, and there's the definition for it, you can see that it's wholehearted, right? And so we are wholehearted ones that comprehend it. And this is why there's that wrestle between the narcissistic nature. They do not have a whole heart. They are partially constructed, but they see that.
Well, they've totally turned off their heart chakra.
Right. But because
completely.
of that, what they produce is unsustainability.
Right.
They cannot sustain the lesser matrix without the empaths in the earth that are wholeheartedly creating a greater potential.
Because they have to suck that energy from an empath, because the only way that they can survive here is by using that energy.
Yes, we're generators that produce the energy for them, but that's what they draw on. We are actually, that's where we get the word vampire, right? Because it's vampiric by nature, and they're pulling from our wholeheartedness.
Right.
So there's Adonai. And if we want to go down
to rule.
Well,
and again, this is the ascended masters.
What are they ruling over? Yes, absolutely. They're ruling over.
The ascended masters are ruling over death.
Over death.
Wow. Look at that.
So I tried to. I brought this in. So no, because we have a very good friend that we share with that we've made acquaintances with. Won't mention names, but him and his wife and his children, they know who they are. And we love them very much, and we're asking questions. Again, we can't just say death is death without really a greater explanation of what life and death is. And so, really, we're in death, but life.
Right. because we need to be made alive.
Sheol is where we ask questions
Right.
that we've already gone through that again, so we can't go back. We're moving forward. But
Just connecting dots.
this is shedding light on what death is. Really, it is this mother showing us how to wrestle love. That's the expression of love. Right there in this word as well is love. Death is love. Because it cannot be, because death is in the experience. And so death and love go hand in hand. Love produces the death measure. If we do it correctly, light takes the sting out of death, out of this completed quadrated mother. The sting is now out of you. Now this is
so it's saying that death is a gift.
It's a gift because you're in again, perspective is everything. In the parentheses of time, we are experiencing the all-knowing, and it's a gift. You already were. Now you're going to go into the gift of the experience. Oh, you've turned it upside down, but you get to encounter with yourself on many fractals and phases, and it is a gift. And so, but there's a time limit on this. But if we do it correctly, guess what, Enoch? You're out. Guess what, Elijah? You're out.
Right.
And that's,
but the other part of this is it's the two teachings that have become one that are a gift
right,
that connects you
to love.
To love.
Yes.
So in other words, when people have near-death experiences, my uncle had one, and he said that the feeling of love was so overwhelming he didn't want to come back.
Well, define life. We think we're living. We are not.
And we're not. We're dead.
That's why that verse, that we are unknowingly partnering with shadows and shades. We are in Sheol as a shade of ourself.
Until we become light.
We call it, no, the spirit, yes, until we become light. The spirit of life is here.
Right.
Our job is to partner with the spirit of life until it is compressed into the measure of light's intention. And then we are woven, mother and father as one, in one vessel of love. That is light over death. Right. You are now really, I could say this is Anubis. Because Anubis would have known this because he was the jackal, because he had risen himself out of the pit and he was walking on the earth going like, it was only a masked face of representation to say Anubis was very similar to Thoth and going like, I'm a representation of the knowing and the knowledge of the mysterious.
Which death is the mystery.
Death is a mystery.
Until
you shed light on it.
Until you shed light on it and you can understand that it is through the process where we are then made alive.
Absolutely.
Because really, this is the death of the beast ego.
Right.
Because the beast ego is the only one that experiences death.
Yes.
Because really, death is an illusion to those of us who are of the light.
We can't return back with ego. There's not one of us.
But that's the whole purpose of dying to self.
This
is
so
ego.
This is where in the beginning when we were sharing with the theft in the garden, and again we were saying shalom, shalom, and then sudden destruction.
Right.
The sudden destruction is at some point in the near coming future that there will be a removal of the flesh suits.
Right. And that's because the shalom of the mother and the shalom of the father come simultaneously through their power of light and love.
So the destruction, yes. So the destruction is the consuming fire that we're burning every day. We're partnering with intention to turn ourselves into our own sackcloth, right?
Right.
This is the adornment of the sackcloth that is an inward contract. No one's going to be walking around in an outward manifestation of sackcloth unless they're religious. The inward is what's happening, and you have consumed your heart. It's an oxymoron because it is so full of light, it is fully consumed as an ash heap. That is the mother and the father. It's like, well, doesn't make sense. It does, because that is love on the altar.
Right, because that is completely burning away the lesser natures so that only light remains.
Absolutely. So now you have the illumination of death based on the journey.
So the death to the flesh is what reveals the light.
Is what reveals the light.
And it is a gift of God to you.
It's a gift of God.
For those who went through the living water teachings of mother and teacher to become one in order to connect to the covenant of love.
Absolutely.
And then you become light.
And look at the last word. What happens in this process?
Yeah, of course it is. But look at it's a mirror. That's so amazing. It's tav, vav, vav, tav.
Right.
Those are bookends, man.
Go down a little bit further so people can see the definition. I put this one on the bottom, so now you have you have the exit of deliverance.
Yay! Yay!
Source. Absolutely.
Source.
Yeah.
So this is telling us, oh my gosh, this is so big. This is how we get out of the matrix.
Yes.
Because Tav, right here, Tav Vav is literally back in Ezekiel when it says mark them.
Yes.
With the mark, it's Tav Vav, and it means exempt from judgment. Judgment only happens in the lower densities in the matrix because it's judging between this or that, right and wrong, black and white.
Yeah.
And when you've rendered everything clear and you've gone through this process and you become light,
to all the amazing people,
this is how you get out.
Carrie does the internet part of conversing with you guys and
on the YouTube channel,
but she
and
shares
on the
it.
Gmail.
She shares it with me, and I just want to just relay this to you. Be very excited. Be very, very excited for those that are feeling what they're feeling right now, that they have this little shiver up their spine and they feel some vibration in their bones right now. The Spirit is doing a quick work right now, and you're hungry for something, and there's a reason why you're feeling what you're feeling, because something is about to be revealed. And so have hope. Don't allow this lesser narrative to distract you.
No.
Keep your focus high, high, high. Allow it to be just resolute and resolved within you. Do not be concerned for anything other than just becoming. That's all we need to focus on right now. So, because she shares amazing things of just I hear some of these stories and it makes me cry sometimes. I'm just looking at, just a little bit that we can do to assist is actually assisting, and that's such a huge pleasure to my heart.
Yeah, because you guys have done an amazing job to create a place of safety in the community.
And I want
in the comment sections, and then interacting with one another. I mean, it is such a blessing to participate with you guys, because we're doing a collaborative work together.
Yeah.
By bringing our lights together so that we can hallel, so we can shine as a greater measure of
and
that.
I'd want it no other place than to be a place of safety. I want it to be a safe place to voice it. There's nothing that anyone could say that would offend us. It's just like, you know what? Express yourself. But everyone is so gentle and kind. So for that, thank you.